What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the most important NYCFC talk show. You're hanging with the dudes in blue. It's episode number 117. Hope this episode finds you guys well. I'm your host, Joe Amato, and alongside me, as always,
Antonino, what is up, dude?
Dude, ¿cómo estás?
I'm exhausted. I have not traveled this much in such a short period of time in my entire life.
Yes, you've been rather busy with the All-Star game that you got to go check out, which I'm sure we'll chat about in a little bit. Guys, start letting us know where you guys are watching from, hanging out with us. We really do appreciate you guys joining us on Facebook Live and joining us on the podcast as well. Let me just say hi, dude, to a couple of peeps here. What's going on? Henry, Steven, Joey, Lalo, Roddy coming in hot. Christian said, missed you boys last week, but got the notification this week. Thanks for stopping by. Arif is here. Jamal, what is happening? Hope you guys are doing well. We're gonna definitely chat about NYCFC dropping points in the Bronx Fortress over the weekend. That's gonna take up a bulk of the conversation, as there are a lot of talking points with regards to that. And yeah, that's gonna be a lot of it, dude. So, guess we're going to dive right into it. Before we do, make sure to give us the follow, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at Dudes in Blue as always. Hello, Jorge. How are you? Guys, make sure to share this broadcast with your friends. Smash that share button before you start smashing that like button. And let your friends know that we're here. And if you're listening on the pod, do the same. We really appreciate you guys getting the word out about that. So, let's get into it, dude. NYCFC drops valuable points in the Bronx Fortress to drop NYCFC down to third place after Red Bull picked up the win against LAFC. Dude, well, here we go again. It's August.
Yeah. It seems to be that way year after year. Just overall, you cannot have the stats that we had and lose points. It's unacceptable. I just can't do it. You can't do it. And I'm sorry, but I don't care what team you are. I don't care if you've got the 4 best defenders in the world. Stop parking the bus. Stop doing it with a 1-goal lead. If you've got a 3-goal lead or a 2-goal lead, maybe I'll give it to you. But otherwise, just keep playing offense and keep your game plan intact, because it's hard to – just the onslaught that comes with trying to park the bus and giving up, quality chance after chance. It's tough.
Yeah. So, jumping ahead a little bit ahead, dude. Talking about parking the bus. That's not something that we've seen Domè do at all. I don't think we've ever really seen him really try to hold the lead for 10, 15 minutes at a time. This was the first time, and it failed miserably. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's take a look at the starting lineup, because there are definitely some big changes there. Let's start with probably the most notable one, dude, in that Sean Johnson did in fact sustain that shoulder injury, which kept him out of the match. Brad Stuber stepped in, or Stoyer if you are still in preseason, and kind of took control of the match, but kind of fell short, dude. What do you think of Brad Stuber's performance?
I think it comes down to lack of playing time, obviously. Game ready and training ready are two totally different things. You get plenty of reps in as a backup in training, that's fine. But when it comes down to game time, your positioning has to be 110%. And I didn't see a keeper that was comfortable. I didn't see a keeper that was that leader that this team needs with the way they play. I thought he had made a couple good saves, but other than that, just not super impressed. And again, you can't really pin it on the guy because he doesn't get to play often, and it's harder for him to do. But when it comes down to it, if you're going to be a solid choice, a 1A or a 2A, whatever you want to call it, you really got to be able to position well. And I mean, that second goal that was given up was just horrendous.
Yeah.
Got to do better. Got to be a little bit more assertive. Got to be a little bit more aggressive. I liked he had a couple saves. He had one on Davies at the end, which was fantastic. But I mean, just he leaves a little bit to be desired, and so it should be expected with the lack of time being played.
I think one thing I did like about Stuber's performance was there was one point where, dude, he made a throw to Maxey who was on a break and put it on an absolute dime. It didn't actually amount to anything, but just the distribution on that was great. But overall, yeah, dude, I think it comes down to just time on the field, like you said. I want to get to a couple of comments here, dude. Jorge is saying the first goal was suspect, and I'm telling you right now, I really can't blame Stuber on the first goal. I have to.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's tough, dude, because when you look at the amount of space, that he had, our center backs. Number one, if I got to pin that goal on somebody, I got to pin it on Alex Ring, because Alex Ring came too far forward, failed to make a challenge, and then Mosquito was like a mosquito. He just flew away, and now you've got two center backs that are not tracking him, giving him all the space, gets to the top of the box, and he buries it. When you ask Stuber to be the last line of defense on that, when there's no Alex Ring, there's no center backs stepping up to Mosquito, it's hard for me to blame that first goal on Stuber. It really is.
I mean, the shot was placed perfectly. There's no question about it. I mean, it's one of the most perfectly placed shots. The fact that you're allowing him to get that much space is definitely more of an issue. I totally agree. It's very similar to the goals that were given up in Seattle. Just guys backtracking too much and not stepping up. You know, you're backtracking, trying to get in position. Meanwhile, you're allowing the forward to get position on you, and all of a sudden, all it takes is that little bit of window of space for him to bury his shot. And again, I give him credit for putting a perfect shot on goal, but face it, if someone steps up to him and just fouls him, it's worth the card if you get it, and it's worth the stoppage because it's that's what needs to be done in those plays.
But again, dude, I can't. It's hard for me to fault Stuber on that.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, he's the last line of defense. You don't even know if Sean Johnson would have made that save. That was again, like I said, it was a great play shot. I want to get to a couple of comments on Stuber here, dude, because that seems to be a big topic of discussion here in the comments. Joey is saying nobody stepped up for 40 yards close to the Vancouver player down on the first one. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Roddy Russell's given him a little bit of a pass, saying Stuber hasn't played since he faced us in that last game, 2016, and he had done some pretty good distribution choices. Yes, he could have done better on the goals, but I'd give him a pass. Again, we're talking about his timing there. Yeah, Christian, same thing. Christian says Stuber hadn't started a game in over 2 years. I can't fault him too much. And I'm not on the first goal. Second goal is a totally different story. Second goal, I thought his positioning was really bad. Ben Sweat's marking on Hurtado was atrocious. Brek Shea's touch and cross was flawless. If Stuber's in a better position, he might be able to punch that ball out. And certainly, if Ben Sweat is playing where he's supposed to be, then
it's more of a challenge.
It's more of a challenge for Hurtado. I mean, Hurtado had an open header, an open shot. I mean, it was that simple, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I could put more of a blame on Stuber on that goal than anything else.
Yeah, but listen, overall, the match was not lost because of Stuber. That was not the reason why this game was not lost. I mean, it feels like a loss to me, but the reason for the tie was definitely not him. Solely, I can't say it was it's his fault because the offense could have done so much more with this game that they didn't do. I don't give him a complete pass. Like, you still need to do your job, but I understand, why it's happened, why he looked that way, and again, did have some good, but the bad has to get better. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, dude, let's move over to the offensive side here a little bit. We'll talk about Castellanos in a little bit, dude, because that's a notable topic of discussion for this match. Because first start, first goal was great. It was a great game for him, from what I saw. But my question is, and I'm posing this to the group here, and if you're following us, if you're following along on Facebook or on the podcast, where was that final ball, dude? Because when you look at how many shots we had, we outshot them, 22-8 or something like that?
Yeah.
And I felt like in the first half, we were in not even just their third, dude. We were like in and around their box the entire first half, and we just could not find the net.
Just rewatching the game today, that camera in the first half really didn't have to do much work aside from being like fixated on top of the box. Like everything was there constantly. It's just, listen, and how many times have we seen teams go down the field, have 3 or 4 scoring chances, don't get it done, and all of a sudden the return chance ends up in the back of the net?
Yep.
So you have to be wary of that it happens, and it's not a product of any style. It's just a product of the hype, the adrenaline rush that you get from almost putting 3 or 4 in the net at one time. It gets the best of you, and all of a sudden you're out of position and you're chasing back, and goals like the first goal happen. So again, you've got to have that. You have to keep that in mind. But just so many, and it's not wasted opportunities. It's more of, you're right. Where's that final ball? Where is that quality final ball? Where's that finish? Where is it? It's been lacking lately. So it's really gotta come around. Otherwise, again, we're gonna have a horrible August, and our summer is gonna end up being what gets us into the playoffs. And if it's a bad stretch and we go in playing poorly, we're gonna be bounced out again.
Christian on Facebook is saying we're missing Villa, point blank, period. I find that very hard to justify because we've got a winning record without David Villa in the lineup.
We've won plenty of games without him.
So I'm not necessarily agreeing with that. He follows up his comment by saying all of our players, as talented as they may be, none of them are clinical scorers. But dude, I don't think they have to be if everybody's contributing. Look at how many players are on the score sheet this year for us.
Yeah.
If you don't, just because you don't have that one central guy doesn't mean we're not scoring goals. I mean, we're scoring goals. Like we don't necessarily have a problem scoring goals, especially at home. But I don't know if missing Villa I don't think David Villa on the pitch is going to be that missing link. I think when David Villa returns, you're going to see a lot of that. We're going to be looking for Villa. And that's going to cause some problems, I think.
I think so, too. If it's not that way, I think you'll still be seeing the same type of play. I just think you're having one more outlet that maybe finishes a little bit more than others do. But again, you can't start changing style of play and things like that when he comes back on the field. He's got to be one of the 11 guys that are out there. It can't be the Villa show that everyone kind of looks it to be when the game is on the line. Everybody's got to keep contributing the way they've been doing. Shradi and now Tati Castellanos and Medina. I mean, these guys have been picking it up, so they got to keep it going and be confident in their abilities. Listen, this team is very talented, top to bottom, especially with the new addition. Very talented. It's fairly deep now. You've got guys like Berget who are doing a fantastic job. Whether they put the ball in the net or not. I mean, he's been a part of, 2 of our last recent goals. So for me, it's not a lack of talent. It's more of like trying to get these guys to click and finding a formidable 11 guys that are consistently put out there. If you want to move 1 or 2 guys around, my money's on switching between Chanot and Ibiaga. I think those 2 are probably the most one-for-one likenesses on the team, where it doesn't really matter which one of them is playing, which is good. But I think any other position, if you're moving guys around, it drastically changes what goes on the pitch. So now you've really got to find out what you're doing with Medina and Castellanos, and are you putting them in the same position? Are you using them to sub each other on and off? Are you moving one to the midfield? What are you hoping to accomplish here with this overload of wingers forwards? Really, you have Lewis and McNamara. What are we doing here? What's going on? What's the game plan moving forward?
Like we're overloaded there, and yet the goals aren't coming.
And yeah, exactly. So I don't mind playing whoever's hot, but the finishing has to be there, because if it's not, you're going to have all these chances created, and all of a sudden, the one chance you don't have, it goes the other way and ends up in the back of the net.
Let's talk a little bit about Jesus Medina. because, dude, it's coming up in the comments a little bit, and I want to get to some questions on Instagram as well, dude. J Ramo 14 on Instagram asks, what did you guys think of Medina playing a more central position? And then there was another comment here on Facebook as well while we were talking from Joey that said Medina looked uncomfortable in a central role and struggled to be productive with the ball. I mean, really, his goal came from the wing, essentially. So, I don't know. Is it bad to say I don't like Medina? In a central role or in a winger role, I just feel like when he's going to take somebody on 1v1, he stammers and he doesn't have that bite that I think somebody like Castellanos is going to have and does have. That's for me. Whether does he fit what we're trying to do here? And I still don't think he's DP status. Although he's definitely on a goal run. Don't get me wrong. And I know I'm kind of dancing around on there. Oh, that's really funny. It's also Joey on Instagram. Joey just said that was my question. So I just, you know what, dude? You asked the question and then answered the question. Unbelievable. Is he DP quality? I still don't think he's there yet. I still think he's too young to hold up that kind of a spot. And he's got so much talent, dude, but I think he's kind of like Kyrie Shelton to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's putting in a few more goals than Kyrie did, but for me, if he's unable to take on the guys one-on-one a majority of the time, playing him in a central role would be a little bit better suited for him because he's receiving more of it, and it's more of a one-time, deflect it in, get a boot on it, and get it into the net, get a header on it, which he's shown he can do fairly well. But if you're going to play central, you've got to get comfortable with it, and you've got to be able to distribute, which we know he can. We've seen him do it. I just think he's got to get more comfortable learning where his teammates are. Because in relation to his position, his teammates are all in different spots now. Whereas, Tinnerholm was behind him at one point. Now Tinnerholm's going to be in front of him, directly on the side of him. So it's a different look for everybody. Just facing a different direction on the field. Everybody's in different spots. So as long as his production in the middle is fine, I don't mind playing him in the middle. I think he's going to do a great job laying it off to the wings and then meandering into the box and trying to find space like he did with our with Tinnerholm on the goal. End of the first half, just ended up finding space and Berger did a good job of holding it up for him and put the ball in the net. So if you're going to get more like that, he'll get more comfortable as he plays. Positioning wise, but I'd rather have him central than have him on the wing because I think the wing involves him taking on too many defenders, and I think his service is better suited in the middle of the field.
Perhaps.
Who knows? Listen, this is one of those projects. He's one of those projects that's going to take like 2 or 3 seasons before you figure out what happened, whether it was a great deal or if it was a bust. Right now, it's a pretty decent deal so far. I just think that you want to see different qualities out of a player just because of the positions he plays. You want to see that 1v1 factor. You want to see that, being able to take on a guy on the wing. You want to see that, and I think you're seeing different stuff, and it's ultimately leading you to believe that he's a different type of player. So we'll see. I mean, it's a project. Is he DP status? I would prefer my DPs a little bit more solid, a little bit more developed, if you will. But
seasoned,
if this is
perhaps,
seasoned, of course. The young DP it's an interesting slot. It's an interesting rule. It's an interesting conversation.
Big ask.
It is because it may not come to fruition after 3 or 4 seasons.
And more often than not, doesn't.
For a lot, for a lot. So. Again, it's to be seen. We're not going to know the answer to this question for another 2 or 3 seasons, but for now, as long as he's putting the ball in the back of the net, I ain't going to pick too much on him anymore because
Christian says seasoned with oregano. It's like the old lady spice.
I'm more of a basil guy, but
a little basilico.
Little basilico. Little basilico bay,
That's it. All right, in the comment threads, how do you guys feel about Castellanos' game This was our first chance at seeing him and playing a wide role. I feel like he wasn't really getting the ball so much in the first half. But he's a guy I think that likes to drift central, which I like if he wants to be a target guy, which in this case, it worked.
Yeah. It worked. It's just you can't have three central guys on the field at once.
What's that?
You can't have three central guys on the field at once. They've got to be able to do more than one thing. Sure. So if they're all prefer playing central, they're all going to have to rotate, which is fine with me because that makes them twice as hard to cover because you don't know who's playing where. But the service has to be there. Like Burgett, this is his second game in a row, or 2 out of 3, where he's made a great cross and the ball ends up in the back of the net. Medina on one and now Castellanos on the second one. So for me, as long as those guys can distribute from the wings and hold up space for the other two while while you're in the box, God bless them. Keep moving around and keep the defense on their toes because it's hard to defend. If you're a left back and your job is to defend, that forward in front of you, if it's constantly switching, it's really difficult because you can't bank on the tendencies. You can't bank on that. There's just not enough sample size of you seeing that guy enough minutes during that game to be able to figure out, okay, he's going to do this more often because you know what? He might run at you twice and now someone else is running at you and you got to figure it all over again. And it's hard to keep remembering 3 different guys running at you. So as long as they can distribute and help each other out in the front, it's a 3-headed monster that's great to have.
Right, exactly. I want to get some comments about Valentin or Tati, as he likes to be called, I believe.
Tati.
Joey says congrats to Valentin on getting a goal on his debut. That's always good, coming out and dude, he took number 11, so he's got some big shoes to fill.
He's got some big balls.
If that's the case. Roddy says, very surprised that Tati started, but good for him to get off the mark early. Hopefully he doesn't fade out like Medina did. Ouch. Steven Berg, I like this play, and I think he shows promise, as Eric says as well. Great potential. He did a good job in his first minutes. Look, it's hard to fault the guy when it's his first match. He scores the goal that should have been the game-winning goal. And he had a good game. I thought he was pretty solid. I want to see what happens as he gets more and more integrated with the midfield, as he gets more and more integrated with Ring and Maxi, because I think he's going to be more of a central attacking kind of midfielder. So it'll be really interesting to see how they link up going forward, especially as the season goes on. Now, will he stay here long enough for that to even be a factor? Who the hell knows? That remains to be seen.
Yeah. But overall, I like him. I think he's good. I think he's similar to Medina, stature, style. I think he's a little bit more confident with the ball. I think he wants the ball a little bit more. The fact that he's more of an attacking midfielder, I think that helps Maxi out a lot because in the beginning part of the game, you saw Maxi getting really, really far forward on the left, just really far forward. I think that role as a midfielder, if you're going to venture that far, I think it's better suited for Tati. I think he's got better ability at that part of the field, where Maxi's height kind of it keeps him grounded a little bit because he can't get that ball up and over as easily, or be a target at that point because it's just so much smaller than the defenders in front of him. So I'm interested to see what happens over the next couple of games, integrating these guys in and rotating and see who comes in for who and what happens. But talent-wise, you've got to be impressed
sure.
with this kid.
Yeah, of course. I just want to get to one more comment about him on this interesting point that Christian brings up on Facebook. He says, the problem is his inclusion might cause a rift. Imagine being Jonathan Lewis and working your butt off only for a guy your age to come in and immediately earn a start. I could understand why that could be an issue.
Sure, with a lot of players.
But yeah, not just him. You look at a guy like Tommy McNamara, or look at Rodney Wallace, who's not getting consistent starts, and which I'm totally fine with. But yeah, you can. I don't necessarily know that's going to cause a rift. I think if Jonathan Lewis knows his role And Domè has alluded to that, to Lewis being that kind of super sub-B kind of role. I think knowing what that role is for him is going to put him at ease, because he wasn't getting minutes before.
At all.
So now you're coming in and you're playing 20, 30 minutes a game where you weren't getting any minutes before. I don't necessarily think it's going to be that big of a problem.
No, again, knowing your role is half the battle, I think, as a player. If you're telling me that my job is to do this, and every game you're putting me in to do it, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind doing it. Listen, it's less work for you. It's less strenuous on you. Your career is elongated, substantially by playing less minutes. But you've got to be put in those games in those situations, which is fine. I mean, listen, as long as you know, it's better than the unknown. It's better than not knowing if you're going to be used at all. At least if you're going to be subbed in every game, and you're going to play as a winger every game, and we're counting on you to create chances. You have a job. It's not a long job. It's not a job where you're playing a tremendous amount of minutes. Doesn't mean it's not important.
But he's been incredibly effective.
Yes, that's the whole thing. It may not be as long as other players, but it's just as effective. Especially if you're going to start scoring goals late in games where, listen, you could have used one Saturday night. Exactly. So I don't think it's going to cause a problem that way. I think ultimately people want to win. I don't think it's a problem because Herrera's out. So I'm looking at this as like he's taking Herrera's spot, and other players are just filling in. Ofori was just filling in. Awuwa was just filling in for the time being until the transfer window opened up. And now you have somebody that's going to give you probably more offense than Herrera, and I'm sure less yellow cards.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
That remains to be seen.
Yeah. So, again, I think the defense has been tightened up to the point where you don't necessarily need to have him be the most defensive player in the world, but offensively, I think it could help out, especially because last year we petered out with the offense second half of the season.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, listen, it's time of the show for the Dude of the Match. So get those comments going. I want to know who you think the Dude of the Match should be for NYCFC versus Vancouver. It was a 2-2 draw. A lot of chances, but not a lot of finishing. And I want to know who the Dude of the Match is. So start getting those comments going now. Dude, I mean, I have an idea of who to give it to.
I have nothing for you on this one. This one I could be persuaded by everyone. So I want to hear everybody's arguments first, and then I'll kind of pick whichever one I like the most.
That's really funny. Christian says, I feel dirty about choosing a Dude of the Match due to how the game ended, but I'm going to say Tinnerholm. He has made a case for him being the best fullback in the league. Yes, I agree with you on the best fullback in the league comment, but I don't necessarily agree with you on the game. Dude, Brek Shea is coming in. Jimmy McGuire is saying Brek Shea. Henry is saying Brek Shea. Joey is saying Shea. Dude, I have to tell you, his cross was beautiful. His touch was absolutely beautiful. Jonathan Lewis was a non-issue when he came on because of Brek Shea just being all up in his face. So not only was Shea up and down the field, creating offensive chances, stopping our attacking power, he was a beast on both sides of the ball. So I wouldn't have a problem giving it to Brek Shea. I always have a problem giving it to an opposing team. That's just, But again, This is one of those draws that to me feels like a loss.
Oh yeah.
And it's easy enough. It would be relatively easy to give it to Tati for coming on, starting his first match, getting a go-ahead goal, and, netting one on his first. But at the same time, the game's 2-2. You can make an argument more for Brek Shea.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For shutting it down, for the incredible play leading up to the goal. Listen, you can make a case for Burgett for the assist and the hold up play at the beginning of the game, helping out Medina with his, not so much an assist wise, but being a body in front of the net with that much height causes havoc. You've seen it. So I can get as much as it looks as a loss for us, I think it's more of a win for them.
Yeah, they're the happier team.
It's a tie that feels like a win for them, and a tie that feels like a loss for us. So I don't have a problem giving it to Brek Shea. I think he deserved it. I think he played a hell of a game.
Wow.
And again, it's warranted. It's if we win the game, I can't give it to another team's player. But if it's a tie and the one guy stands out more than anybody, I think he stood out more than anyone.
He did. I'm telling you that last goal, he was running right at us, dude. Because you were unfortunately not able to beat the game, but dude, right. He was running that touch line right at us, and that touch he put on the ball, and then to whip in a perfect cross, I can't even
to just place it that far away from him and have just the right amount of speed to be able to put a perfect cross in was just unreal. I watched 2 or 3 times before, just unbelievable.
Yeah, just amazing. All right, so that's it. Brek Shea's going to get it. Congratulations, Brek Shea.
Brek Shea.
Brek Shea gets the dude of the match for episode 117. Lauren, if you're in the broadcast, please go ahead and update the Google Doc. And if you're not, dude, please tell her to update the Google Doc.
Brek Shea, episode 117 versus Whitecaps. All right. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. All right. On to some more serious discussion here, dude.
Yes.
And this is a topic of conversation both on Twitter and on Instagram. And in these comments, it's going crazy. So NYCFC is up. And again, you had to be in the stadium here, dude. NYCFC is up 2-1 in the second half.
Oh, I think I heard about this.
Okay. The group near the judges' quarters, I think, in that area.
Judges' chambers. Okay, all right.
The judges' chamber. I don't follow it, but yeah, you know what I mean. The judges' place.
The judges, where the judges are. Yeah.
Okay. I do have to make a note here, but while I'm doing this, but they started a wave, and it finally wound up making its way around the stadium, and then Vancouver ties up the game. So there are plenty of comments here. We got here on where is it? It's on Instagram. Steven is asking on Instagram, do you blame the wave for the loss and should it be banned?
I'll get into this. I am a firm no wave advocate. And I'll tell you why. Yankee Stadium fans constantly try to do this, and it is shot down every single time. Watch the game. You are there to watch the game. If you want to dance, go dance at a club, go dance at a party. Pay attention to what's going on at the game. That's why you're there. You're there to cheer. The wave does nothing because you're paying attention to what's coming to you next. And all of a sudden, nobody's watching the game. Everybody's focused on the wave. I'm sure some of the players are like, hey, the wave's going on. And that's what happens. You get goals scored on you. No, but seriously, if you ask a majority of Yankee fans, they hate it. Hate it. It's just you're not paying attention. You're more focused on what's going on in the stands. Does it lead to goals? No, it doesn't. But
I'd like to believe in this case it did.
Hell yeah! If this is the reason we're going to use to ban the wave at Yankee Stadium, sign me up. I am ready to go.
If this is what it's going to take, I'm totally down.
Sure.
Look, this is not like baseball or American football where there's a lot of breaks in the action. You turn away. You try going to the bathroom in the first half, you could miss 2 goals.
That happened to my dad once.
He did. That's right.
Uncle Doc missed a game tie and a game-winning goal.
That's very true.
He goes, they were playing so crappy the first half. He said, I'm going to the bathroom, and 2 goals were scored.
To go see something better. Oh, my God. Yeah, it was bad. Ronald on Facebook says, and it lasted a long time. It went around like 5 times. It was too much. It was too much.
It doesn't matter what sport it is, whether you have downtime or not. You are there to focus on the game. Watch the game. You're paying for it. You're paying. Why are you pay? If you're paying to dance, go pay to dance somewhere else. But focus on the game, because if you're not focusing, you can't cheer properly. It's not a cheer. The only time I had fun doing the wave was when Colombia played Peru in the semifinals of the Copa America.
Well, that was because a game that we didn't really care what the outcome was, so we were all Colombian that day. So
and
it was
they had fun.
It was just madness.
Crazy.
It was just absolutely madness.
Just stop the wave. Ban the wave. No waves. I'm starting a no wave T-shirt. You best believe it tomorrow. I'll get on that. It's just it's so silly. It's an old thing that happened way back when, and it was fun for a while, but it takes away from the game. Just watch and focus.
That's it.
And put your efforts into cheering on the team and coming up with some funny crap to yell at the referee.
And there's always plenty of that. Dude, let's on to some other very serious topics here. Felipe still sucks.
Yeah, flopping like crazy.
Okay. Speaking of which, thank you for bringing that very good point up, guys. I want to know in the comments, is time wasting getting out of hand? Because let me tell you something. In the first half, the Vancouver goalkeeper, Marinovic, probably wasted a good 3 to 4 minutes for goal kicks alone. Second half, the amount of time wasting going on from Vancouver was absolutely atrocious. At what point does the league step up or pro step up and start penalizing guys for this? If you're down and you're hurt, you're down and you're hurt. I understand that. But this BS has got to stop. Where you're not putting the ball in play intentionally. You're moving the ball further back from the position. You're going down and you're staying down, but you don't want the training staff to come out, but you're staying down and wasting time. 5 minutes of stoppage time, dude, and the ball's in play for 2 minutes. It's got to stop. I've absolutely had enough of this.
What game were we at recently? It was either Columbus or Montreal where the keeper would not get rid of the ball.
We kept yelling, "Kick it!"
Yeah.
I don't remember who. I'm telling you, this was exactly what happened this game.
It's just, it's ridiculous. It's not needed. It's not warranted. I understand the sportsmanship aspect of it at the end of a game where you're trying to milk the clock. Fine. Understandable. But to do it for an entire half?
The first half. It was in the first half. And then you talk about you had 2 minutes of stoppage time in the first half when the ball's been out of play for 3 or 4?
No, it's not.
Dude, stoppage time, this is my understanding of stoppage time. When the ball is not in play.
Yeah.
That is considered stoppage. Jimmy is saying in the comments here on Facebook, after VAR is settled, moving to a modern time system is probably next for FIFA. Why is this so difficult to understand? And if the ball is out of play, the clock stops. The clock keeps moving, right?
Yeah.
But you stop the clock. Why is VAR not just keeping track of this and just calling out to the fourth official, hey, there's 5 minutes of stoppage time and a minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time?
Yeah, there are much more efficient ways of calculating stoppage time. To be true, all you have to have is one guy upstairs watching it from a press box or a booth or whatever, and every time the ball's out,
doesn't even need to be part of the refereeing staff.
Doesn't have to be. Just stopwatch, and when it gets to the end of the first half, towards the end, just, hey, real quick, you've got 4 minutes and 30 seconds, so I'll give him 5 or give him 4 and use your discretion.
It's just getting out of hand.
That's it. It's getting a little ridiculous.
And I understand if you're up and it's in stoppage time and you're trying to milk clock. Yeah. I understand that kind of gamesmanship there.
5 or 6 minutes of the game, but for an entire half, why do you not? Why? What do you? Why at a 0-0 game or a 1-1 game? Why are you limiting your own chances? I just don't get it. I don't get it.
It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to the game. In my opinion, it's an embarrassment to the game. If you are intentionally staying down or flopping, to try and run the clock, and the referee, he does this. He looks, he taps his watch. He's saying, I got this. I think it's bull. You need somebody keeping time. Dude, how hard is it? Do you remember? It was the Oh my God, I can't remember if it was the last game of the season where we played at Citi Field against Columbus. It was one of the Columbus games, dude, where there was like 3 minutes of stoppage time. And in that stoppage time, the ball was only in play for like 45 seconds.
Yes. I think it was.
I calculated it because it bothered me so much.
Yeah, it's not. It's not true. It's not true to the teams that are playing. It's not true to the fans.
And this goes for both sides of the ball too, dude. Like I understand if we do it too.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm the other team, I'm pissed.
Every team's guilty of it. And I'm not saying we're not. We definitely do. Everybody does it. It's just where does it stop? Where is enough? Where is the time wasting? You know, listen. You and I have both been kicked in the legs, been cleated before. Does it hurt? Yes. Does it hurt to the point where you need to be laying down for a minute and a half at a time? Probably not.
Or get off the field.
Yeah.
I've seen players get hurt, fall out of bounds, and roll back into play just to stop the play.
Sure. Agreed. It's sad.
I have to talk about it this game because especially in stoppage time in the second half against Vancouver, it was atrocious. It was an absolute joke.
Yeah.
The refereeing was god awful when it comes to that. Something's got to be done. That's it. Somebody tell Alexi Lawless to go on a rant about this because every time that guy seems to go on a rant, something winds up happening. U.S. gets kicked out of the World Cup, but maybe something can happen here because it's just not cool, dude. It's not cool. So that was my thing. I had to get that off my chest, and I know some people on Twitter and whatnot were talking about it too. Patrick Shields, who sits right behind me, sits right next to you guys, was complaining about it. We were complaining about it the whole game because it was just over the top.
Yeah, agreed.
It's just. I don't know, but that's that. Dude, I want to get to one more quick discussion before we get into stoppage time where we talk a little bit about the All-Star game because you were there.
Yeah.
It's a question that we got on Twitter from Eric, and I wish I could put it up, but I can't. While I was in Atlanta for the All-Star game, I talked to a family friend who does data management for MLS. And he said that NYCFC will drop to less than 13,000 season ticket holders next season. How do you think the team can stop the fan base from declining?
Easiest way, number one, announce a stadium. That would be the easiest, not the easiest thing, maybe the most influential thing.
Right, yeah.
Would be announce a stadium. Number two, not going to do as much, sign a big-name player. Sad to say, sign a big-name player. Number three, make all season tickets free.
Then I dropped to just 15,000.
Okay, but I'll be honest with you guys. I'm a huge Rangers fan. If you think your season ticket, no matter where you sit, if you think your season ticket is too much money, go try and buy a season ticket for any other team in New York, and you'll be begging.
You're also talking about a lot more games.
You are, but still, the price per ticket is still ridiculous.
Yeah, I
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Listen, I bought 10 Ranger games 2 years ago. It cost me $1,500, and that was cheap. That was at face value, not being oversold by somebody. It's really, really an affordable way to go. Will it be affordable once we have a stadium? It probably is going to be increased. So who knows what that's going to happen. But for me, if you're number one stadium, you're telling us, all right, people are going to want to get on board this way. The first year that stadium opens up, they've got a seat. That'll be number one. And number two, a player. Get a player in here. Yeah, get a player. And if you don't think it works, wait till Zlatan. Well, you're not going to see him, but if look at the years past when you'd have LA come in with their big names, they sell out the game. That's what happens. People want to see these stars.
But people are not going to buy season tickets for one game.
No, so you have to get your own guy to do that.
Right, that's the point. It's great to be able to see all these other teams come in and play and see Zlatan and see Rooney and see Carlos Vela play and all that. But But at the same time, your team has to put out the product there. I agree 100% on the stadium, dude. That's obviously that's like the easiest way to bolster those season tickets. But at the same time, dude, I'll tell you right now. Oh, that's really funny. Jorge says 2 words: pigeon mascot. Maybe. But I'll tell you what, dude. New York is a winning city.
Yeah, it's another thing that could do it.
Okay, I think you'll slow down the bleeding if this team hoists the MLS Cup. Because listen, what happened in 2015 when we had 20,000 season ticket holders, dude? When you put out a losing team, you lose fans.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So I think short of a stadium announcement and short of a big player signing, which I don't think is going to happen, dude. This team's going younger. I don't think we're going to see that other player, and I don't think we're going to see the stadium anytime soon. And even if they do make an announcement, I don't think people are going to hold out their season tickets 3 or 4 years while a stadium is being built in New York City.
No, you would see more of an influx probably lateral, down the line, I would think. Winning could do it, but again, I think the winning and the big name would have to be synonymous. I think if you're gonna win and you're gonna put out a good product, but it's not necessarily a product that people are gonna be super excited about, whether they win or not. It's just, if you have no names on the team, they're only names to people who are involved in the circles of MLS. You've got to be able to reach out and get that casual or get that European fan that doesn't necessarily want to make the switch yet. But again, you'll get fans just like us with Pirlo. You get a name, and it doesn't have to be, an aging superstar. But if you can figure out how to get someone in their prime over here and do it on multiple teams, the league will benefit ridiculously. It's just a fact that you've got to let up some of these stipulations on rosters and international spots.
That's a conversation that we don't have time to get into, dude, because we're already in the 2nd minute of stoppage time here.
Yeah. It's just if we're gonna be honest, you want to answer that question. Stadium announcement would be helpful. Signing a big name would be helpful, and winning would be helpful. If you can get some combination of all those 3, you'll have a huge influx of numbers again. A huge influx of numbers.
Yeah. There you go. Well, listen, dude, we got like a minute or 2 left here of the broadcast. So if you guys didn't know already, Antonino got to go down to the MLS All-Star game down in Atlanta. Got to talk to Alex Ring for a little bit after the game. Heard you had a pretty good time.
Yeah, so we left Tuesday morning. We arrived Tuesday afternoon. We stayed at a hotel that was connected to 2 other hotels, and the first hotel in that chain was the hotel where the players and pretty much anyone MLS related was staying at. So we made sure that whenever we walked through that hotel and ended up in the back one. But anyone you could think of soccer related in the United States that you could think of was there. And I bumped elbows with Lawless and Taylor Twellman and Patrikoff, Sands, Bradley Wright Phillips, Davies, Vela. All these guys are just walking around, and hard to interview in the hotel because it's not sanctioned. So it's nobody really wants to talk to you there. They want to try to keep it towards the game related stuff. But if you have the opportunity, and as much as I hate the playing surface, you do have to go see Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It is unreal. The level of noise that is in that place is just unreal. The fans are spectacular. Dude, I don't think any one item on the food menu or drink menu was more than $8.
Yep. That's what I hear.
Not more than $8. That makes it so family affordable. It's just other teams should really take note of that, because the minute you can make it more family friendly, I think people are more willing to go out in groups to do these things. again, and I'm not sure what the tickets were because I went as press, so I wasn't able to, wander around as freely as most people would. But just an unbelievable area, a lot of history in the area, a lot of fun watching games there. Very, very up to date, very technically sound. Building is unreal. Very comfortable. For the amount of rain they had down there and the humidity, going in there was like a nice change of pace. It was so cool and comfortable in there. Food was fantastic. So I highly recommend next time we go down there to play, guys, get a group together and get down there because it's a lot of fun. Not a crazy flight unless it's raining. Then you end up like us being stuck in the airport and having to sleep on a sofa somewhere. But just a great time. Ring was fantastic. Super nice guy to talk to.
If you guys didn't check out the interview, you can check it out on our Facebook, Twitter.
Okay, it's been long. I don't want to take up too much of the guy's time. I mean, he played a few minutes at the beginning of the half, and he was already ready to walk around. But seeing all that talent of the league in one spot is actually it's kind of crazy because you just turn your head, you do a 360, and you're just seeing so much talent and guys having so much fun and guys having other guys sign their jerseys for them, which was unbelievable. I mean,
very cool.
You've got guys coming over, hey, sign this, sign this, sign this. It's very cool. I will say this. I met up with a friend down there, and it was post-game, post-Bradley Wright Phillips, post-penalty. So it's like 1 a.m., and I'm in the hotel lobby, and I'm hanging out, and Bradley Wright Phillips walks by once, and then he walks by twice. And the third time he walks by maybe this far away from me. So he walked by, I leaned over to my buddy, and I said, it's taking every ounce of me not to stick my foot out and trip him. I want to foul Bradley Wright Phillips. Not many people.
Be the guy.
I want to foul Bradley Wright Phillips. That's what I want to do. I want to be unprofessional for that little bit of time and just a little, and then see how long he stays down.
And clock it.
Yep. Okay, all right, it's good. But no, in all seriousness, very fun. Not rumblings that it might be in Orlando next year, which makes it for a great family trip. You can go do the Disney and do the game in the whole week or whatever. But definitely, I don't like the game itself. I mean, the game was fun to watch, but I don't like what it stands for. I don't like what it means. I think they could do it much better if they want to do it. I think they could do it at a different time of year. This is a conversation for, off season or, before the game starts. But ultimately, just a really cool experience if you're not worried about the outcome of said game.
Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing us there, dude, and bringing back the
anytime.
Just bringing it back, man. It's been really fun. And we appreciate you guys for smashing that like button, dude. They're going absolutely berserk right now on that. We really appreciate you guys hanging out here. I know it's been we're in the 8th minute of stoppage time here, but we're getting ready to wrap this thing up. Make sure to give us the follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at Dudes in Blue. We're going to be coming at you live Monday night again at 8 p.m. Podcast on Tuesday, as always. After Sunday's matchup in Toronto, it's going to be a tough one. NYCFC's got some serious ground to make up. David Villa possibly back for that match. We shall see. But looks like Toronto is finally starting to hit their stride a little bit. The return of Josie Altidore is helping them out a little bit, and they're starting to find a way to score goals. So that's going to be a very difficult place to go and get a result, especially knowing our road form. So that being said, we will be back here Monday night. We thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 117. If you haven't already, leave us the review on Facebook or iTunes. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. Helps other people just like you find us and enjoy the show. Well, dude, it's been fun. Glad to have you back from Atlanta. Glad you finally made it back like 3 hours ago. And
that's what it feels like.
And we'll be back on Monday night. But until then, stay blue.
Stay blue.